What's up, everybody? Thanks for joining the Glass Horror Channel, the best horror channel here on YouTube. This time we're going to get into our next episode of the history of horror, detailing Frankenstein's monster and Boris Karloff. So the time is still 1931. Dracula is now put Universal on the map and is now starting to gain some traction. But Bela Lugosi and Dracula are not the only two big names that would come into the Universal lore. The next one that we're detailing today is arguably more important than Bela Lugosi and Dracula. This is Boris Karloff. 1931, the same year as Dracula, Universal released Frankenstein, a movie based on the book by Mary Shelley of the same title. So Frankenstein follows a mad scientist who was obsessed with the creation of life. He just wanted he wanted to create life more than anything. He robbed graves, put together a body, and gave it life. So, fun fact, just so you guys know, Frankenstein, the Frankenstein we know, is not the monster. Frankenstein is the name of the doctor, Dr. Frankenstein. The monster is Frankenstein's monster. There's a misconception. A lot of TV shows or costumes and shots will say that Frankenstein is the actual monster. The name Frankenstein is of the doctor, not the monster. So the movie comes out and it is huge, very widely regarded in the exact same way as Dracula. What made it a little bit more intriguing than Dracula, the monster was not the bad guy. He was more of a victim of the insanity of the doctor. And because he looked like a monster, he was ostracized from most of society. So he spent the majority of the movie trying to stay away from people and just kind of fit in, but he couldn't fit in. So that's why the lore of Frankenstein, he becomes more of like almost like a fan favorite than Dracula. Dracula came out to be this menacing villain, whereas Frankenstein's monster was not so much. So after this, Universal rode Frankenstein from 1931 to 1948. You had House of Frankenstein, Ghost of Frankenstein, Son of Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, Bud Abbott and Louis Costello Meet Frankenstein. There were so many movies that Universal took advantage of and wrote it as much as it could. And Boris Karloff was the main focus to play Frankenstein. He wasn't the only one to do it. Bela Lugosi actually played Frankenstein in Frankenstein Meets Wolfman. And Glenn Strange played Frankenstein in Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. But Boris Karloff, had it not been for his presence and the way he delivered the initial monster, as well as Bride of Frankenstein in 1935, Universal would not have had the success that it had in order to carry on the name. Even after Universal closed its doors, Frankenstein kept on for years. Going into the Hammer production company picked it up. 1992, Robert De Niro played Frankenstein. That's how much the Frankenstein monster means to horror. It also transcends it, where you have a TV show called The Munsters, where it showed a Frankenstein-like character be this lovable father figure, and there's countless costumes, and it became to a point where Halloween for years was wrapped around Frankenstein, Dracula, Wolfman. All the kids growing up wanted to be one of the three, but Frankenstein seemed to be the leading person, the leading monster that led the pack as far as everything culturally. Now, it still didn't have the same rise as Dracula, considering Dracula has way more movies to its credit than Frankenstein does. But Boris Karloff made Frankenstein who he is, and the Universal would not have been where it was today if it wasn't for both Dracula and Frankenstein. The reason Boris Karloff gets his own segment alongside Bela Lugosi and kind of overshadows him is he had movies outside of horror. But not even about that, he was also the Mummy, another Universal monster that was huge at that time. He played Imhotep, the one who would become the Mummy. So where you have Bela Lugosi, who was pretty much typecasted to Dracula or a vampire. You had Boris Karloff, who was Frankenstein and the Mummy, putting two huge Universal monster movies on the map. Also, there are plenty of movies within the Universal lore, notwithstanding Dracula, Frankenstein, or Mummy, that both Bela Lugosi and Boris Karloff were in together. The Invisible Ray, The Black Cat, just to name a few. And Boris Karloff was given top billing on both of those. There was something about Boris Karloff that the production company just loved, and he was the man from 1931 till about the mid 1950s. Anything he did was gold. But if it wasn't for his initial run as Frankenstein's monster, he would not have had the career that he had today. So again, guys, that's my video. Very short and sweet today. But Boris Karloff deserves his own space to be talked about separately. On our next episode, we're going to get into the remainder of the Universal movie monsters. Dracula, Bela Lugosi, Frankenstein, Boris Karloff were the two main names within the Universal night from between the 30s to the late 40s. But there are a lot of other Universal movie monsters that were around during this time of Universal's reign on top. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you're new to the channel, click the like button, subscribe, share this video with anyone else that loves horror, and I'll see you guys next time.